I mean, look, do you think AI is going to be able to wash dishes? Do you think AI is going to be doing, plumbing or something like that? I don't think so. And if it is, we should create this. State. We could be real rich on this one. But
come on, the robots. I mean, Elon Musk is making the robots too. He's pretty much making everything, but he's making the robots, and they do have a company that's training. So people in, I'm not trying to be rude, but they're in third world countries and they clean people's houses for a living. They wear the headset, and the headset looks like the light that you put on your forehead when you're walking around at night, but it's recording all of your hand movements and your body movements when you turn. It basically just records it, and then that information is downloaded. They get paid $20 to wear that every day that they clean, and that information is downloaded to the robots to train the robots how to move like a human and clean. So they're going to have, like that robot that was in the Jetsons. She was their household maid and she cleaned and she cooked. We'll have those. Yeah. And let me tell you, that can't come soon enough. I was sweeping and mopping today. And it's not that I was upset about it. I live here. This is our home. But I was a little tired by the end. I was like, wow, I've done 2 rooms of sweeping and mopping. And man, it looks and smells amazing. But I've got these 4 other rooms down here. And then I didn't even want to think about going upstairs. So I was like, I'm doing as much as I can today and then I'll move upstairs. What if I had a robot that was doing it? I could be in here composing X posts or something. I could be doing something else.
Hey, NWO.
Something I want to do. Although I wouldn't want to do that.
I like that.
Maybe a robot can dig the holes for you,
Get the robots to go outside and dig the holes for you, too.
Happy fucking fuck the cops day, too.
I feel like we have synergy. We understand.
Hey, do you have a Rumble? I need 2 more unique chatters than Rumble.
I'm never going to bet against Elon.
The link's in the description.
And everything he touches turns to gold. My parents got a Tesla, and I was messing around with it the other day doing the self-driving. That thing was crazy.
That's the only one I'm monetized on.
It drove me XYZ all over the place and touching me.
Did you put it in ludicrous mode?
I didn't put it in. I put it in the curry mode. I was afraid. I still got to work my way up to ludicrous.
Come back to us on the show and give us your firsthand accounts of when you use it on ludicrous mode, because I'm desperate to know from a real person, like someone I trust, what it's like. I've seen the videos. I want to know what it's really like from someone normal, not someone who is paid as an influencer
drop off
to do
some
it.
UPS packages
know, first of all, like the sequence of buttons or the tapping that you have to do on the screen to get to ludicrous mode. And then when you do it, does the car talk, or does it what happens? I want to, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I have changed
CVS was closed.
Criticizing Elon Musk, and I was really critical of him in the beginning, and now I get it.
Inside?
Like, I get what I didn't get back then. But do I need to buy one of the dual fuel Teslas?
It's close.
Do I?
Right. I gotta tell you, I was skeptical. I really was.
Wow.
And my parents got it as another car, and this thing, I'm sold. I'm really considering going to get like a Cybertruck right now because I don't want to have to drive myself.
That's a commitment.
It is a commitment. I'm telling you. Once you're in the States, you do not drive yourself. You literally just sit back, drink your coffee.
Like right now.
I need 2 more live. All you got to do is say hi and chat.
Not like in the future. You're saying it's already
I appreciate it if you can.
Oh, wow.
Right.
If not, no worries.
Yep. I'm telling you, I will do a video for you next time. I will give you step by step, and I will tell you exactly how it is, even with ludicrous mode, and it is amazing, so impressive. I'm a fan. I'm sold.
Okay. Well, you know what? You're one. If you say it's good, I'm good. Okay. Well then, last
JB, what's up?
Yeah,
I'll be safe.
Can you talk a little bit about? There's a lot of fear about a universal basic income, and I've been asking my guests about this for their thoughts about.
It's hour 40-minute drive.
Who are not kind of, we're swimming in this. You do a lot of television in addition to your work as an attorney, and so you get prepared for those hits. I know what you go through going on Fox. I've been in there so many times. You don't just show up on Fox. You got to be ready. And so you do a lot of research, and you're a subject matter expert. You go on and talk about these things, but the artificial intelligence is frightening Americans, and they're only hearing the doom and the gloom because there is an disinformation campaign, some of it coming out of China, that is meant to frighten Americans and slow down our advancement. We have Elon Musk. I mean, I don't know how they think they're going to stop us, but anyway, what do you say to that?
Good point. Good point. I agree with you. Look, I think AI is great for what we do, and getting everything in order. I am afraid of what the Chinese are doing, and so Tom Cotton, he's obviously at the forefront of it right now, and showing concern. I mean, look, it doesn't take Stevie Wonder to see something like this. You can see this a mile away. The Chinese. They try to mess with all of our technology. That's why we can't do business in China. That's why they can't bring their cars here. Because if they did, they'd steal everything of ours. Same kind of concept. The Chinese and other foreign governments too, or foreign countries, I'm sure are trying to mess with AI to make it that they are trying to infiltrate our system for political purposes.
Hey, if both of you jump over to Rumble real quick on my stream and say hi in chat, I will have my numbers for the month. It would be awesome. If you can't, if you don't want to, I don't care. It's cool. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here either way. We're listening to Stacy on the right, and we have an hour and 40-minute drive home. So I was setting up cameras at a new site for the people I contract with.
Because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Slater.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I spent years living in fear of
cancer. By the way, both of you, thank you for jumping in. It's been a while for both of you, so I appreciate it.
Just take Kidney Cup.
Battling calcium oxalate stones? It's time to try Kidney Cup, a doctor-recommended kidney supplement that has been shown in laboratory tests to reduce the growth rate of calcium oxalate crystals by 99%. Get Kidney Cup today at Amazon.com, Walmart.com, or KidneyCup.com. By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Host. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at PocketHost.com/terms.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn. Homeowners, listen up. Before Pocket Hose, garden hoses were heavy, bulky, hard to carry, and always kinking. Then Pocket Hose changed all that. It's the American invention that made watering lighter, easier, and smarter. And now, the world's #1 expanding hose has gone ballistic. Turn on the water and watch it grow from a compact hose into a full-length, powerful hose. Turn off the water, and it shrinks right back down, making it easy to carry and easy to store. But now it's even better. With a tough ballistic-infused outer sleeve, a pocket pivot that helps reduce kinks at the spigot, thicker washers to help resist leaks, and UV protection to fight sun damage. And for a limited time, you'll get 2 free gifts: a 360-degree pocket pivot and a thumb drive nozzle. Just text finance to 64,000. That's finance to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. Text FINANCE to 64,000.
Let's be honest, you love your dog more than most humans. So why are they home alone all day, binge sleeping like a teenager? Send them to Dogtopia, the world's largest daycare. Dogtopia dogs get serious exercise, averaging 8 miles a day. That's 70,000 steps. The beats lying around at home staring at squirrels through the window. They make new friends and can even sleep overnight. And you can watch them on our live webcams like the helicopter parent you are. Visit Dogtopia.com to find a location or explore franchising of Dogtopia, because your dog deserves a social life too.
Never get old.
Thank you, NWO. I appreciate it. Happy Fuck the Cops Day! Sounds like somebody does it.
Radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-4181. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google.
I miss that motherfucker. He's got to be getting out soon, right?
Any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-4181. That's 800-575-4181. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Someone moves fast, and Black Rifle Coffee Company is bringing the full to keep up with it. Also, companies are suddenly leaning into patriotism for America's 250th birthday. BRCC has proudly celebrated America, her military, her values, and the people who defend this country since the very beginning. That's what makes Black Rifle different. Every can, every bag, every box purchase gives back to the communities that make America.
Olé!
With their ready-to-drink cold brew coffee cans in just black and vanilla.
Alright, fucking with my phone.
Mornings that start early. And when you
I'm fucking with my phone and shit.
Inspired flavor with 0 sugar and 200 milligrams of caffeine. Filled for long summer days that don't slow down. No fake patriotism.
Yes, Mr. Brent.
Black Rifle Cold Brew and Tiger Strike now at Walmart or your local grocery store.
I haven't looked at about a year. I don't know if he's got early release coming or whatnot. The dude's in fucking prison for a fucking speech, basically.
Breaking news is how our hometown leaders in Washington. Congressman Kevin Hurd has won the GOP nomination for U.S. Senate from Oklahoma. Hurd was backed by President Trump. He would face Democrat Kyla Thomas in the general election. The winner would replace Mark Wayne Mullen, who resigned to become Homeland Security Secretary. Hurd will be favored to win this seat in November. Democrats haven't won a U.S. Senate race in Oklahoma since 1990. In Georgia, Mike Collins, a second-term congressman, defeated Derek Dooley. He advances to face Democratic Senator John Ossoff for a seat that will help determine control of
I believe it's Colorado.
Donald Trump's second presidency. The president endorsed Collins on Sunday. In the Georgia governor's race, Rick Jackson has defeated Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones for the GOP nomination to challenge.
Yeah, I believe it's Colorado.
Candidate, former Atlanta Mayor Lance Bottom.
I've actually written them a couple of times, but that was almost a year ago. You know, life happens.
Change for the nation's capital. Willie Nelson reports from the White House.
Voters in Washington, D.C. are heading to the polls to choose nominees for mayor and Congress. As the nation's capital continues to see major changes under President Trump's efforts to improve safety, restore order, and revitalize the city. For mayor, Democratic candidate Janice Lewis-George and Kenyon McDuffie are competing to replace Muriel Bowser. The race will also mark the first use of ranked choice voting in a district, a change election officials warn could delay results. Willie Nelson, the White House.
Iran's top diplomat says the tentative deal to end the war with the United States
would require Israel to withdraw one bright, one dim.
A condition Israel has already rejected, and that could sink the agreement. The deal between the U.S.
Hey, if you could, drop a link in there.
More at Town Hall.
I allow anybody to drop links in my Rumble.
A real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at 2 different options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by a team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments,
got a big old
reduced
bug
my
splooge
interest,
on the middle of my
saved me
windshield
thousands,
there.
and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company.
Bug
which is
guts.
important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
The U.S. infant mortality rate fell to an all-time low, though it still trails other similar nations.
Infant mortality in the U.S. dropping to a new all-time low last year to below 5.4 deaths per 1,000 live births. That's considered a significant decline from about 5.5 in 2024 and 5.6 per 1,000 live births in the 2 preceding years, translating to hundreds of fewer infant deaths per year. The CDC posted the data in late May, but Tuesday issued an in-depth analysis. While the U.S. rate has gone down over the decades, it has remained higher than other high-income countries. I'm Julie Walker.
Soon, half of all American school kids will live in states that offer public money for a private education. Texas is the latest to join in, budgeting $1 billion to spend this fall. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
Christian, mother, wife, Air Force veteran, gun rights advocate.
This is Stacy on the Right. Here's your host.
The local saloon. I'd like to check that place out. That's cool.
Live and direct with Stacy on the Right here on Sirius XM. And you know what? We're going to have a great conversation with our next guest. Adam Kissel returns, visiting fellow in higher education reform at the Heritage Foundation. It's heritage.org. Adam, welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
Oh, good to have you. I have to say, breaking the bureaucracy of the U.S. Department of Education, don't mind if I do. I'm as an American taxpayer, thank you so much, and a little bit more, please. And I have a personal thing with it because I was an elected school board member, and I just remember how even the Democrats on that school board and those Democrat teachers,
Dude, the bugs here
complained about the
crazy.
strings. If the Department of Education was offering a grant, we would literally turn down. I remember us turning down one for $95,000. And I said, why would we turn down that free money? We could buy, and I listed off a few things. And I said, well, the reporting requirements and the strings attached are too onerous for us to do that. We can get, parents can raise that money. We can, set it aside in the budget, and we can make that up. I mean, dismissively. They were basically saying, look, it's not worth it to take that money. And back then, $95,000, that was a good little chunk. So there's something wrong here, and it looks like President Trump is like, I'm just erasing it.
He is doing such a great job through the department leadership. So there's two big categories that the education department leadership is working on. One is to return education to the states, as you were saying, try to block grant as much as possible to the states. The states and local boards are the ones who know the needs of their kids and families best. They should be as close as possible to the decision making too. And so what we're hoping to see more of is more states getting waivers from all of these bureaucratic regulations, or as many as they can, so that they can make their decisions the way they want. What happened today was the second category, which is offloading as much as possible of federal programs away from the education department to other agencies that are probably better placed than the education department to run the federal programs. So that's everything from civil rights to college program funding, to school funding, to IDEA special education funding. Everything, once all these interagency agreements are done, is going to be out of the hands, except because they have to, the final to IDEA special education funding. Everything, once all the interagency agreements are done, is going to be out of the hands, except because they have to.
God damn it. Fucked up my audio.
Made money on that one. Who made money on that one? Should we look it up, Jamie? Drone military contract. Let's see who made money. I don't want to say.
Department. That's no longer going to be used. So all of the new grants for the next couple of years are going to be housed at the new agencies under their grant management systems, that software. So there isn't going to be what's called G5, that software anymore. So it's going to be hard to undo it. Two, the different agencies are pretty jealous of the power that they have. And if you give them more power and more programs to run, they're going to want to keep them. So just as a matter of incentives, they're not going to want to give the programs back to the education department. Third, after a couple of years, or maybe after 5 or 6 years, or or 8 or 9 years, depending on how many more years the Republicans get, it's going to get more and more baked in as the status quo. And Congress is going to see, well, the facts on the ground are these programs are just fine, working just fine in their new homes. Let's just codify it. So the status quo is going to make it hard to undo it. But until Congress actually acts, there's still that risk that a future Democrat president can try to move it all back. And if they prepare well, they might be able to get some of it back.
All right, that's good. That gives me hope. That because what I don't like is well, yeah, but I mean hope specifically for these changes to be permanent. And the reason I say that is because we saw the heinous amount of dismantling that even the Supreme Court allowed Biden to undertake after President Trump left office. But they didn't do the same thing when President Trump was trying to dismantle things after President Obama. You know, they were kind of like, well, you can't really, I mean, you know, it's the executive order, but you can't really do it. You know, it was like these magical rules. And so it was like just one president was the one who couldn't dismantle and also could have all of his stuff dismantled. And I found that to be quite unfair. So I like this approach a lot better.
It's what higher ed and education reformers have been talking about for a couple of years before the Trump administration came in. We said, here's a few different ways that any of the education department could succeed even without Congress.
Yep, that's him.
100%, but we can get most of the way there. And this
That's
is
his
not
number.
2025, which is, as you know, a coalition of maybe 100.
Good job, man. You found him quick.
That all converged on a bunch of policy ideas. But this was reformers all over the conservative movement saying, here's some ways that we can actually get it done. And so a lot of that was ready by the time the Trump administration came in. They agreed that that was good, and they've been doing it nonstop for, 18 months now? And that's like 18 months at the speed of government, that's amazing.
Yeah, it is. And you mentioned Project 2025. That was something that the Democrats effectively demonized. But it was also, I just like making this point. It's one of my favorite points that I've stored away in my little point factory. That Project 2025 was just the latest iteration of a plan that happens every 4 years when a president is elected, where the Heritage Foundation brings together experts and they talk about how to make government better using the Constitution. They write up a plan for it and they offer it to each president.
Man, the fucking highways are fucking rough here.
This plan is created by the Heritage Foundation and a team of experts. They offer it to the president. They take it.
The cops,
the Democrats usually don't because they don't like the Heritage Foundation.
Oklahoma.
Logically, they're like nincompoops. And so Project 2025 was not some conglomeration that happened and where all these horrible people came together. And for the first time ever, there was a fascist plan for government. Not so. It happens every 4 years. For decades now, this has been happening. So I just want to make that point, just in case anyone's listening and they're thinking about their Project 2025 talking points.
Oklahoma, can you hop over to Rumble and just say hey and chat, please? I need one more unique chatter.
By being the key policy,
they'll be fully monetized for the month.
Rational policy.
The way Rumble works is you got to remonetize every month.
Ideas from, based on facts, based on history, based on principles, since the 1980s.
Literally since the 80s. I mean, I'm not trying to stress it too much, but literally since the 80s, the 1980s, guys, the 1980s. So since the 1900s.
Ooh. That's right, the previous millennium.
That's right.
So it's been a lot of fun to watch this administration take so many of the ideas of conservative reformers and make them reality in such a short time. I've been so impressed by this administration, not just campaign rhetoric, but making it real and delivering on the promises. Ever since President Reagan said the education department should be abolished, really from the beginning, from 1981,
Everybody has been saying, let's do it, everybody on our side. And finally, this administration is doing it. It's terrific.
It is absolutely what we voted for. And the side benefit of it, which is the primary reason why anyone would undertake it, but the ideas that have been brought forward
this is the
in
bypass.
2025
It's called
were
469.
ideas that lots of people have thought through, and they were very excited about them. But
I'm only on it
maybe
for
there
another 14
wasn't the right
miles.
time
So
to push it through Congress, or there wasn't the right control in the House or the Senate, or the president was busy working on other things. I mean, there's just been so many reasons why something that's a great idea maybe doesn't make it to fruition. And so then you have this, it's like a lot of the stars are aligning, to borrow that phrase.
I'm going to stop
You have a
right at the
president who's
border and get some gas because it's a lot cheaper here in Indiana than it is in Ohio right now. So
some of them weren't. There were a lot of different voices in that list of experts, and they all just basically said, "Look, let's get this thing done," and they did it. Yeah.
I think there were two mainstreams other than just the general turn towards populism that helped with this. One is that the Biden administration was so lawless with student loan, what they call forgiveness, we call cancellation, that everyone said, well, they
okay, no worries, brother.
are going to abuse their power so much, this agency shouldn't even exist. And there's a
I don't know why I would say that.
In the past week or so,
Rumble's actually been running really smooth for me lately.
Having been misled by the Biden administration into thinking that their loans would be canceled, went ahead and spent all of the money, or a lot of the money that they thought they were going to not have to pay on loans on other things, and now they're in even worse shape.
I appreciate the attempt anyway. I got 2 weeks before I need one more chatter. It's not that big a deal.
Is that when parents saw during the COVID response that the schools were doing so badly by their students, that not only spurred, I think, so much school choice in America, state after state after state after state, but also had people say,
usually it means something
education department done for our schools after 50 years. Why are they so bad?
My bank does that all the time on my bank app.
Trillions of dollars,
even though it's like,
and I think those two streams came
saved, and there's like a pass for it.
Under the president's leadership, saying the time has come. Let's all do this. And it's been happening. So kudos to the administration, but also to the American people for realizing that they should keep control over their schools and colleges.
I know you have. Mm-hmm. That's why I asked.
It can't get any better than that. The local control, it means you have less of these kind of weird ideological.
I've been trying to talk Midwest and just using the Rumble Studio because it's so easy. You can multi-stream for free about 8 different places.
And the databases are the schools, and parents don't get a say in it. Like, why are there chest binders in every school closet?
One thing that sucks is you can't zoom
every public school.
Zoom the camera.
Why are there
on your stream?
These universal policies to teach kids that gender is a spectrum, that it's what's between your ears and not what's between your legs, and all these different things that you're like, how are they all speaking the same language? Local control prevents that, and that's why Democrats hate it.
I'll clean the windshield when I stop.
Now, people should
about
know
20
that
minutes.
Civil rights is still going to be a thing that's protected vigorously, but now the Department of Justice is going to do almost all of it. They are very well qualified.
It was rainy earlier, so it was nice and clear windshield, but now
sports, that boys are not in glove sports, and uphold Title IX the way it was meant to be upheld. So just because the programs are going to other agencies doesn't mean that kids with disabilities won't get 100% of what they were getting before. Doesn't mean that civil rights will not be enforced as vigorously as it already is. Doesn't mean that any of the federal dollars will stop coming, but they'll just be coming through the other agencies and operating through the other agencies. So you don't need the education department and specific experts in a particular building.
Here's Exie!
That should be done.
Welcome, brother. I was about to just send you a message on Messenger.
They will be doing it. And when we talk about the
welcome,
you're mentioning civil rights.
A little later than I thought, but it's all right.
Functions of government and of education, where those two things intersect and they're well done, and those things will remain. Like, one of the things I think of that the government actually does pretty well when there isn't ideological intervention is Title IX, making sure that funding goes to girls and boys sports, making sure that kids have an opportunity to play sports at school. These are all things that had been, up until just recently, very well done. So, we can have those well done things again. Like, we really can. I'm looking forward to seeing just a return to sanity out of the Department of Education. What's left of it, I understand there'll be some more dismantling, but we have to be grateful for that, actually.
It's pretty amazing that once these so-called interagency agreements are in full force and operating, and the staff who are running the programs at the education department will be running those same programs and activities at the other agencies, there's going to be very little left for a skeleton crew at the education department to do. They're keeping their statutory responsibilities to make the final call on this or that program or this or that recommendation.
Well, I'm way west of that, so I'm at least an hour and a half west of that. I'm still in Indiana. So.
And then what I think is left to do,
so I'm behind it,
to work on what I would say is the first prong, which is getting as much of the money as possible into block grants so the states can decide how to spend the money in the proportions that they want on the different programs that they want to spend it on. So that it's not the Fed saying, well, you have $10 million for this and $5 million for this and $97,000 for that. If they get a block grant and then they decide what to spend the money on. So that's probably the next frontier once the interagency agreements are done.
I can't wait to see what that's going to look like. I'm so appreciative of your time tonight. I'm grateful that you could come on and talk with us and make these very important announcements about where we are with the changes that the Trump administration is making to the Department of Education.
Thanks so much. Keep watching them because I bet more and more is coming.
Oh, I see some lightning ahead of me.
So, which is kind of the president's next level up. Said all gas, no brakes, and I feel like they're still.
I haven't looked at the radar.
Put on the gas. So keep watching.
Is Mindy on?
Breaks. We're here for that.
I'll drop in there for a minute.
Please come back and give us updates on the gas. And even some of the breaks if there are.
No, I had a drop off earlier. I didn't know if he has a pickup coming up.
It's good to have you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Stacey. Always a pleasure.
All right. Have a wonderful evening. If you want to weigh in,
really?
866-957-2874.
That's north here.
Call me to talk
about an hour north of here.
Changes. First of all, are you going to miss? Are you going to miss all this stuff from the Department of Education? Are you going to miss the actual Department of Education? You're going to be sitting at home kind of, bemoaning the end of it, or will you notice? I know there's some Americans who are saying, how will we notice that it's, not there anymore? Well, there'll be some indicators, mainly the wailing, screaming, crying, and gnashing of teeth of Democrats, because they use the Department of Education as a weapon against parents. Yes, parents, moms and dads who deserve to know what their kids are up to in school, who deserve to have their kids actually getting an education. That's why you're sitting them there. And most importantly,
that's cool.
You're dropping your kid out there, right? You also have the
is he a Green Bay fan?
The taxpayer dollars. Think about all the money from you buy a car, there's a sales tax. That goes to the state, and half of it goes to the city or municipality that you live in. You pay your property tax on your home, and there's a huge chunk of that property tax. The biggest line item for that is schools. It supports the schools in your area. And you're like, well, if you don't want to support it, buy a cheaper house. You know what, fascist? That's fascism, where you tell people that government is built in, and if you don't like it, then you have to do something different instead of changing government.
That's understandable then.
Back to what it originally
I would take the opportunity too if I was
supposed to
happen to be up there.
The people. Serve. How about that? Can we get a little bit of service?
Was that like a 4-hour drive from his house?
Being treated with respect, and their children not being indoctrinated and transitioned and everything else. I mean, just just asking for
Fucking
a friend.
this
You don't even have
bypass
to
is
say
getting
we're just
rough
asking
road.
questions. And I'm saying that with all sarcasm. Like when I say it, that's sarcasm. I'm never just asking questions. You know my analogy for that. Satan was just asking questions. If that's what we're up to, if we're going to go there. All right, we'll take a quick break here. 866-957-2874.
Mark Lopez. We moved into the constitutional period. The most important philosopher was Montesquieu, and he emphasized separation of powers. And he specifically talks about a judicial, that is judiciary, an executive, the president, and a legislature, of course, Congress. These are great men. They did great things. And in the Revolutionary War, we lost more battles than we won, but we won the battles we had to win 250 years ago.
The Mark Lopez Show, weekdays starting at 6 p.m.
Go.
on Sirius XM Patriot.
Freedom never gets old.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Oklahoma.
Less than 200,000 miles with no warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month.
Ole, 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 ole. Happy fuck the cops day.
An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-619-6488 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan.
No, I was just talking to Dre if you wanted to go to a game from his house. Yeah.
Free towing and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick
24
today.
East.
800-619-6488.
We're
That's
doing
800-619-6488. What do you have to lose? Call 800-619-6488. Again, 800-619-6488.
He's Donald Trump's
No, that's Eric Brandt actually started that.
politician, Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin
Look
has
him up.
a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate mega stores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits.
Yeah, I'd always
And
contended
Dick
it.
Durbin helps them do it. Tell senators, say no to the mega stores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the
That's cool.
Coalition.
I appreciate you doing that for me, brother. It means a lot.
Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies for seniors just like you. And at AbacusPace.com, we've created a free policy value.
Look up Eric Brandt.
You can find out the worth of your policy in just
on YouTube.
seconds. There are no fees, no obligations. Get real value for your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at Abacus.
He is one of the godfathers of cop watching. First Amendment auditing. He's basically in prison for his speech. Because he publicly said what he thought about a judge.
That will help us as we go forward each and every day. The John Kasich Show on POTUS Channel 124 and anytime on the Sirius XM app. 866-957-2874. You're listening to the Daily on the Road on Sirius XM Big 125.
Hey now. I'm live and direct with Stacey Washington on Sirius XM's Patriot Channel. Did you catch the President of the United States defense? The defense of supporting President Trump? That was Vice President J.D. Vance. He has a new book out. It's fascinating. The book is something that apparently he's been working on it for a long time, and he's out promoting it now. And what's interesting is he joined the ladies of the View to talk about this.
Robert Gouveia went over that big time today.
This book and questions. So they, of course, read the book and tried to take it apart, and it didn't really work. It didn't work because he's really experienced with them. He's had quite a long
Look at this.
in media. Actually, he
3 tractors
CNN contributorship
hooked together.
on television a lot. And here he is, Vice President J.D. Vance. He was on The View.
Brand new.
the question
Still got
came up.
sticker tape on him.
You know, well, you used to be a big critic of Donald Trump, and he addressed his past comments and
Waiting for some paint.
talked about how he was wrong.
It's been well covered that I was a critic of Donald Trump back in 2015, 2016. Now, obviously, I'm sitting here as the Vice President of the United States in the Trump administration. Well, Joy, a little humility, actually. I think that when you make predictions, and those predictions turn out to be false, you got to ask yourself, well, what made me wrong about that? What did I not understand or not appreciate? For example, I said that Donald Trump's economic policies would not lead to wage growth. They did in the first term. That was actually a major thing. I said that we couldn't bring back any of those factory jobs because I kind of had given into this idea that those jobs were disappearing. But actually, Donald Trump, you saw a manufacturing boom during that administration. So there's a certain point where you say, you know, I made predictions about this. I ended up being wrong. Yeah. And in politics and anything, I think it's important to say, you know what? I got some things wrong. And I was wrong about him. He was a very successful president. It's one of the reasons why I've been so supportive of him.
So they never ever give you a chance to finish your sentence.
We're chirping on him constantly.
Did you hear Philip? You know, the lack of self-control there is unbelievable. And then the lack of respect. So he's the Vice President of the United States. He certainly can find his way onto enough television outlets. He doesn't have to go on The View. So he's going on The View. Yes, he's hawking his book, but he's still the Vice President of the United States. And they couldn't even keep it. Well, why did you?
Whoopi was the worst, dude.
You know, the victory.
He handled her good, though.
The vile nastiness, the tone, all of it is just, you know, rise up and hate him for supporting the man that they now hate. Because never forget all of the images of Joy Behar and Donald Trump and Whoopi Goldberg and Donald Trump. They were celebrities and he was a celebrity and they all ran in the same circles and they were the best of friends until they weren't. And when did the weren't part of it happen? Oh, that's right. When he came down the escalator and announced he'd be running for the presidency as a Republican, not just as a Republican, but that he'd be running against Hillary Clinton. When he took apart their pipe dream of the first female president. I was born to be the president, is what she said. No one is born to be the president in this country. You accomplish things. You set your mind and your heart. You win the hearts and the minds of the American people, and then maybe they elect you the president. No one's born to it here. This isn't England. This isn't some monarchy.
No kings.
You're not born into elected office here. So here's Vice President Vance on The View, and the question was, well, what did you not appreciate about Donald Trump?
I would say fundamentally that one of the things I underappreciated about Donald Trump is that so many of the things that people said about him weren't actually true. Again, you talk about humility. Okay, so I see Donald Trump, I see a clip of him, or I see not even a clip of him, but reporting about something that he said, and I take it at face value. For example, let's just go back to one of the most controversial things Donald Trump said during the first term that I was wrong during the first campaign, is that I was led to believe by the stories. I read stories that said Donald Trump said that all Mexicans were rapists. He never said that. What he said is that the certain South American countries, Central American countries, were releasing criminals into our country, including Mexico. By the way, that was objectively true. So it's not so much Christians.
Fidel Castro did that in 1980 with the Mariel boat lift. There have been many journalists, including CNN, where you used to work and be my colleague, that have tried to find evidence of that. There is no evidence that Maduro was releasing people from insane asylums or jails like Fidel Castro did do. This was made up, and we just can't, accept it without pushing back.
And we know that there were people who were released from prisons who were encouraged to come into the United States.
It wasn't the Mariel, Mr. Vice President. It wasn't where it was like a purposeful release. Open up the jails, open up the insane asylums, and let people flood Florida. I lived through that in Miami.
If you go, it may not have been like Marielle, but if you go back to the caravans that were happening in 22, 22, 23, we know that those things were funded. They were in some ways supported by the government.
There was absolutely.
So I don't need to define support or not support, but if people are encouraged to come into our country after having spent time in prison by their own governments, I think that's a problem.
And if it happened at all, then it's true. If it happened at all. See, they don't like it when we apply their rules to everything. See, if
that's what they all want. They want us to be divided.
Then there's family separation.
Let's stop here for gas.
That's the Democrat rule when dealing with anything that President Trump does. If he says one person is not the best that their country can send, then he said all of the people from that country. If he says some of these countries
are dirty Dr. Pepper,
then all of the countries where the people aren't white are asshole countries. They take what he says, they weaponize it, and then they spread that weaponized disinformation like farmers spread manure over their fields, liberally. And then when they're done with all of that, I mean, it's unbelievable.
This is a black woman.
When they're done, then when you correct them on it, we just have to push back on that. So she didn't say it wasn't, what he said wasn't true. She said, we can't find any evidence. Again, an obfuscation. We can't find any evidence. What if I said to you, I heard that you kick puppies for a living. And then you say to me, I don't kick puppies for a living. And I say to you, I can't find any evidence that you don't kick puppies for a living. Therefore you do. You'd be like, wait a second. I don't do that. What evidence did you have that I do? I can't find evidence that you don't. And so I have to push back on that. Do you see how that works? It's enough to make you feel like you're going crazy, except he's not going crazy. He's sitting there dealing with
all right, you guys get to listen to this.
I'm not going to get any name calling. So he then gets asked about the biggest boogeyman of this presidential term. The first term, the boogeyman was Russia, and the Bush tape where he, you can grab him by this and that. Russia. The Russia hoax and the tape, the locker room tape. This term's boogeyman is somehow that the Republicans own the Epstein issue. When the best friends of Jeffrey Epstein were Hollywood types, and Hollywood is full of Democrats. Remember, they don't allow Republicans to be successful in Hollywood anymore. Rainn Wilson, I played the tape from him last night. Rainn Wilson, who was the funniest man on The Office, he said, we couldn't do The Office today. Too much woke nonsense. It just wouldn't fly. He called it political incorrectness, but I'm saying it's woke nonsense because political incorrectness was what you heard from the comedians of old. What we're hearing now is just, first of all, it's not funny, and second of all, it's woke. So here he is talking about President Trump literally booting Epstein out of his private club when he found out what the guy was really about.
I think that it's crazy that you have this guy who is clearly a sex predator who is hanging out with a lot of very wealthy and powerful people. Like, that really bothered me. I don't know what's there, of course. Nobody knows exactly what happened unless you're there, but that really bothered me, and I wanted to have full transparency. What I disagree with is the idea that the White House wasn't committed to full transparency. We have to remember, like, I was inside the room when some of these decisions were made. The Epstein Files Transparency Act, the one that the president signed, the one that led to all these files that we're seeing, the emails. By the way, again, sorry, do I do have to defend my boss? I know you guys don't always appreciate this, but, one of the things you see in the Epstein emails is that Jeffrey Epstein hated Donald Trump, and that Donald Trump literally reported Jeffrey Epstein to the police. That's one of the things that came out of these files.
They were best friends for about a decade. I remember he signed that Transparency Act under duress when some Republican women, congresswomen like Marjorie Taylor Greene, did not give in to his pressure of not signing. He brought Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room to pressure her into caving on not voting for that bill.
So let me respond to that. So
that's all true.
Let me respond to that. So
right.
Number one is, yes, Donald Trump, he said this. He knew Jeffrey Epstein back in the 1980s. He also threw Jeffrey Epstein out of his club when he found out he was a creep and reported him to the police. That's something that the media often misses when it reports this story. They tell the fact that they knew each other in the 80s, which the president himself admits. They ignore the fact that he narked on him to the police and led ultimately to Jeffrey Epstein's downfall.
That's true. That's all it takes for something to be true. Again, let's try it. Let's try it on you. You kick puppies. There's evidence that I don't kick puppies, namely that this person and that person, my neighbor and my boss have seen me taking care of puppies, and I have a camera set up in my house that proves that I don't kick puppies, because even in my private time, the camera is on and it's connected to Alexa. And if a puppy even sound like it's been hurt, Alexa reports it, and the cameras, are scanned by the monitors. And this is an expensive system that I've set up since the last time you accused me of kicking puppies. And then what do I say? Well, we know that you kick puppies because the reporting says you did. And then someone to the right of me says, that's true. And so everything you just said about the cameras, the documentation, the evidence, you don't kick puppies, you got it all laid out. You've got the proof. You have a 24-hour surveillance system that you set up. You are not going to be caught up in this lie anymore. You're coming to me. You're telling me, Stacey, you're slandering me. You're telling you've got to see this evidence. You've got to remove this obsession that you have with me being a puppy kicker. And I say, yeah, but the evidence shows that you are a puppy kicker. And then someone chimes in, that's true. That's true. That's the truth. That's true. And then you just look at me and I just look at you blankly, because there's no way your evidence, your camera evidence, your tapes, your digital, digital video, nothing you can show me will ever disabuse me of the idea that you're kicking those puppies. So what are you supposed to do? You can't win is what I'm saying to you. And that's why JD Vance being on there, he was so laid back. Honestly, he was so laid back, and they were just pounding him with their lies. And he was just like, well, let me respond to that. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he says. Lauren Goldberg was in the Situation Room. No. All the made up crap. So then you have Vice President Vance. He continues to talk about the files, trying to speak some common sense and truth into the ladies of The View. Let's listen to how many times they break in, filibuster, stop him from finishing his sentence, and otherwise do not allow him to be a part of an interview that they have invited him there to do.
To that point, Anna, the Republican Party.
Interruption one.
Well, it's one of the things that led to law enforcement investigation. But on the point that you made,
was allegedly over a real estate deal that they.
That's the third interruption. She can't let him finish the sentence.
The email says actually
Let's just be truthful and transparent.
Fourth interruption. Anna Navarro can't shut up.
Incredibly close friends.
She's just filibustering.
That's what I'm saying. That is objective. That is objectively true. Would be if I may. Anna made a very important point. This question about, did Donald Trump release these files only under duress from Republicans? And Anna, the Republican Party probably better than I do. The idea that Donald Trump runs around afraid of Republican congressmen as opposed to the other way around is kind of crazy.
What was the bipartisan?
But because the Republicans control the House and the Senate, particularly the Senate, you need the Republican sign off. What the president did is, look, I will say this again. I was in there in the meetings. He was very frustrated that the Democrats were making this about him when he's like, look, I threw the guy out of my club. I am the guy who reported him to the police, or one of the people who reported him to the police. The president was frustrated about that, absolutely. But he eventually came to say, you know what? Let's just get everything out there. Let's have this out in the public. And he actually called the senators. I was there. He called the senators and said, you know what? Pass this bill.
We cut it off there, but that was 8, interruption number 8. So 8 times. And let me tell you how many minutes that was. That was, producer, that was 1 minute and 30 seconds. Is that the one I'm referring to? 1:23, 1 minute and 23. with a gaggle of hens who won't shut their beaks long enough for you to finish even a half a thought. So he finally gets the sentence out, and then they erupt in another. You know what they sound like? They sound like the turkeys. Remember when we were having the fight with the turkeys, and the turkeys were constantly in my courtyard, and they were up against the window, and they were pecking and making my life a living hell until I released the air horn, and now they understand the air horn. It's piercing. It's so annoying because it really hurts your eardrums, but you just have to do it because it's the only thing. But when you release the sound of the air horn, when you depress that button, they go and they start, gobbling and taking for the hills. That's what it sounded like. A bunch of hens gobbling. The turkeys just gobble, gobble, gobbling. But no, well, it's true. It's true. What is the reason why they couldn't let him finish one sentence? So here's 35 seconds of Vice President J.D. Vance on The View trying to debate the gobblers on immigration.
You talk about the children. Here's what I'd say. Do we know that during the last administration, we had tens of thousands of children who were sex trafficked by the cartels, who were brought into our country in profoundly dangerous and predatory conditions?
Let's talk about this administration.
But here's the point. Unless you enforce the border, you invite that kind of conduct. You think that our immigration policies are inhumane based on the reporting of one person with a political bias. What I'm telling you is that it's inhumane to allow cartels to sex traffic people across our border.
Three interruptions in 35 seconds. So he gets 9 to 10 seconds, gobble, gobble, gobble. 9 to 10 seconds. Every 9 to 10 seconds, they just erupt. They can't control themselves. Vice President Vance on The View talking about the Christian faith. This really annoyed me because Sarah Haynes will use her Christianity to defend any ungodly thing she can think of because, well, I'm a Christian. You know what? Actually, it's become almost like a nervous tick. Oops. If a liberal is trying to debate you and they know they have the low ground because they're debating and supporting something that is immoral and wrong and illegal, then they will suddenly become a devout Christian. What's your favorite Bible verse? When's the last time you attended a Bible study? When's the last time you read the Word of God? Do you pray? What is your personal relationship with Jesus Christ like? Is there something in your life that you would point to that is an evidence of the changed nature of your inner man due to the work of Jesus Christ in your life? Do you feel the inkling of the Holy Spirit? If you do something wrong, do you feel a little bit of conviction? Do you apologize when you wrong someone? Do you feel the need to make it right?
It's down to 63. It just feels a little bit chilly.
You need to make it right.
Feels good in here.
Just, they can deal with it. They'll be fine. That already happened. Talk to me about how, as a person, you walk out your faith on a daily basis, and what is the scriptural emphasis for that? What drives that? I'm not talking about the feel good. Well, I'm a Christian because you go to church. Cars sit in garages, but you know what else you can put in the garage? Ask me, a china cabinet. Put a china cabinet in the garage. Is that china cabinet now a car because it's in the garage? No, it's a china cabinet that's being stored in the garage because you don't have anywhere to put it in the house right now because you like buying china cabinets. True story. So china cabinets are not cars because they're in the garage. You can go sit your demonic supporting rear hiney in the church, in any church you'd like. You can go to the Catholic church, you can go you can sit there all day and all night. You can go on Wednesdays, you can go 3-4 times a week. You can hit prayer at noon on Monday through Thursday, go on Wednesday night to service, go on Saturday in the evening, go in the morning on Sunday. You can go sit there all day or you can sit there never. That doesn't mean you're a Christian. Well, I'm a Christian. And then you launch off into lies. Now, I'm not saying that Christians don't lie. I'm not saying that Christians don't make mistakes or that nobody's perfect.
All right, let me throw away this receipt.
When you try to use your supposed Christianity to justify ungodly things.
Yeah, I did. I'll be right back.
Some of us, red flags are getting tossed. For those of us who have discernment, we understand you're not speaking as a Christian. You are using Christianity as a cudgel.
So yeah, I did. But somebody stole something last night one of the employees stole something, and I had to spend almost 2 hours trying to find the video of evidence of that.
Illegal immigration, while you support sex trafficking of kids, because when you support illegal immigration, you support sex trafficking of minors into this country. When you support the open border under the guise of, I want to keep families together, you actually separate families because parents in the Northern Triangle countries send their kids unaccompanied on a 1,000-mile journey where they are repeatedly raped and then sold into slavery in America. You support that when you support the open border. So don't tell, well, I don't actually support that yet.
It's all right. I mean, they're labor workers, so they'll steal. But most of them are pretty good dudes.
He's there in a suit.
And she really wanted me to find something because she knew who it was. She just needed proof on it, and I found it. And adding more cameras, and I'm going back on probably on Friday. Add even more. Where the fuck's my feet? Oh, there it is.
He has a presidency in his future, perhaps. And there are going to be many more opportunities for him to be on the news. I, on the other hand, am a rage kitty for Jesus. And if you're going to come at me with
he just got fired.
Knocked up moronic nonsense about how you're a Christian, but you also support illegal immigration, how you don't believe that sovereign Lord created sovereign nations in the Old Testament, and he created borders, and he said, this is the borders of the nation.
It's too much bother to even take him to court over this shit, over what he stole.
They knew the land that was theirs
so
to be
he's just done.
And they understood that the lands outside of their borders were not theirs to be responsible over. And the Lord gave us this land.
And that was there because she needed someone big to stand by while he got fired. Car on the side of the road.
I've reported a car on the side of the road. Thanks.
It's weird. There's a Love's truck stop at the exit, and you got 4 fucking semis parked on the exit. It's weird. Hey, baby.
We also have the vassal states like Canada and Germany and most of the EU, 550 million people who were literally, they're on our boat. We're defending them, even though they don't appreciate us until, FIFA World Cup. I think it's absolutely debased and dishonest to try to whip out your Christianity card to defend something that is patently unchristian, that is patently sinful and harmful to the least of these, which was actually scripture about what happens if
you still have your other cauliflower steak left, right?
If you intentionally harm them, it's better to have a millstone tied about your neck and be tossed into the sea than to harm even one of these little ones. But I would ask Sarah Haynes to quote me some scripture, and then I would wait. And I'd probably be waiting until Kingdom Come, but that would be one of the questions I would have for her, because I don't understand how she can support illegal immigration and come out with the big old huge, well, I'm a Christian. Tell us more. Tell us more, Sarah.
Not a drop. I'm at.
And under our leadership, the forgotten men and women will be forgotten no longer with your help. With your love and your vote, we will put America first, and we will make America great again.
Hey, Jeff.
I'm in Drake, Ohio.
Even in a tough time for businesses like ours. Hey, Mike. Yeah, thanks to Lindsay, our business was able to take care of some outstanding bills.
Ooh, lightning head.
To purchase inventory and expand our product lines. Wow. My business needs work.
Hey, what's round on both sides, behind and high in the middle? Your cauliflower steak. Don't you have one of those left? Oh, you ate the other one yesterday? I'm sorry.
If you've been in business at least 1 year with annual revenue of at least $250,000, you can get the funding your business
business needs in as little as 24 hours. There's no obligation, so apply today at lendeseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com. For 250 years, America has stood on grit, sacrifice, and stubborn belief. Small business owners have carried that spirit in every generation. I have lived it myself, starting in a flooded basement and learning payroll the hard way. Ooh, I see the lightning out in the distance, but I'm not going to catch it. So. To honor that legacy with accounting and payroll done right. As we celebrate 250 years of independence, visit patriotsoftware.com and celebrate with our Independence Day offer. How many times are you going to walk into that outdated bathroom and think, I really need a bathroom makeover? Stop putting it off and transform your bathroom and your life in as little as one day with a beautiful, affordable shower makeover from Jacuzzi Bath Remodel. Choose from custom designs tailored to your budget and style, including safety-focused features for beauty and peace of mind. I've had a great experience from start to finish. The crew that came in, they were so... Check her Facebook. I made her a delicious one the other night. Actually, I made two of them. She ate one. She saved the other one and ate the other one last night. Call now to schedule your free design consultation and quote. Call 800-384-3114. I'm experimenting with my Blackstone. 800-384-3114. With purchase and installation, financing through learning how to do vegetables, steaks on it, bake. Oh, dude, I've done so much baking on it. Never gets old. Celebrating America 250. Sirius XM Patriot 125. Nice cast iron cooking surface. You got to keep it seasoned though. I can see lightning out in the back, way out in the horizon, which is out in the Whitefish area. I'm not in anything right now. Let me check the radar. You talk a lot about your Catholic faith, but the Catholic faith says we take in immigrants, we take in people who don't have or who are having a hard time. How do you justify both things? So let me say first a couple things would be so most of it's gone by. The book is actually way less political than you might think if you were just watching this, because obviously we're getting into the issues today. 95% of the book is really not about politics. I kind of have to write about politics because I'm the vice president, but I want to answer your question. Right. So fundamentally, if you think about what is immigration enforcement, immigration is law enforcement. It's somebody who's broken a law. A law enforcement officer has to show up and enforce that law. Mm-hmm. Now, inherently, sometimes that process is not always going to be pretty if you capture a video clip of it, in the same way that if you arrest somebody for committing a violent or nonviolent crime, sometimes it's not always pretty. What I'm saying is the Catholic faith is actually I think it strikes the right balance here. It says, the Christian faith, I think this is true of Protestants and Catholics, that you can have borders. Yes. You're allowed to enforce your borders. That means the law enforcement piece of it. But you also have to take certain precautions and certain care, okay? And again, your argument is fundamentally will be you're saying that we don't strike the right balance. I disagree with you about how we apply that, but nobody hopefully is saying we're not allowed to have a border. No, what I'm saying is that in order for us to actually enforce the law, you can't set a standard that says you're not allowed to deport anyone unless they've committed a violent crime. You've got to enforce the law equally. And they cut him off. They kept trying to cut him off.
You have Sarah Haynes. I watched all the clips from it earlier today, and Sarah Haynes said, well, I'm a Christian, and I am having trouble defending this administration's policies against immigrants and children to my children. And that's why I went on the rant about her comments. Those videos are up on x.com. I'll retweet the one with the appropriate sound. We'll be back with more.
Well, it's not a skillet. It's a flat surface. It's all cast iron. That's what a Blackstone is. It's basically a diner grill surface. Has to be treated though.
And hard, obviously.
There's a little work to it, but I like cooking on it. I'm really liking cooking on it. I used to love cooking on open flame. I have a smoker, little smoke barrel, but I'm really liking cooking on this.
The best place to get life insurance is ethos.com. Because you can do it in 10 minutes, and there's no medical exam, no blood test, just a few health.
It was basically my birthday present to myself last month.
You get $2 million coverage for $2.
Other than the fridge too.
Policy for 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
The new fridge.
Talk about death in our
the fridge did sing me happy birthday.
Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Slater. Rates may vary, but one thing, ethos.com/Slater.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Mariota here. These words are written for
you saw me build it.
They were written for you. But it's hard to pursue happiness when pain is part of everyday life. Relief Factor was created to help people address.
I streamed myself building it.
Causes of ongoing aches and pains, aging, overexertion, and just daily living. It's a 100% drug-free, research-based formula that works through multiple metabolic pathways to support comfort and mobility. No prescription, no masking symptoms, just real relief.
I'm about 50 minutes from home.
I take Relief Factor every single day. I've done so for years. I don't want my pain to come back. As America celebrates 250 years of independence, give yourself the chance to reclaim yours. To commemorate, we're offering a special patriotic price to $17.
I think I got my numbers with all those guys jumping in. Homegrown,
Your 17
Oklahoma.
3-week quick start is ready for you. Relief Factor. Because freedom that feels better without pain. Visit ReliefFactor.com. That's ReliefFactor.com. Or call 800-4-RELIEF. 800 the number 4-RELIEF.
Yep, hit it. Nice. And actually, if it's just you, I'm going to switch it over to premium. I need some premium. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do a scanning screen tonight on premium. Actually, oh shit, you don't even have your premium stuff. Let me fix that.
Says he looks forward to seeing the terms of the ceasefire agreement.
Yeah, I just checked the radars. It's pretty. It's a tiny cell, and I can see the lightning ahead of me that's hitting her. But,
for 60, maybe 90 days, whether we're going to be able to confect a real agreement with Iran.
New problems, though, may be popping up. Iran's top diplomat says the tentative deal to end the war would require Israel to withdraw from Lebanon.
They're not going to do
Israel
that.
has already soundly rejected and could sink the agreement. President Trump appeared very frustrated with the Israelis, not at all happy right now.
Without the United States, there would be no Israel. Without me, there would be no Israel, because no other president was willing to do what I did. I've had a great relationship with Bibi, but now Bibi has to be more responsible with respect to Lebanon.
With Israel, while it's not the party to the agreement, it is part of the war after joining the U.S. and launching strikes on Iran. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres visiting Haiti as a number of people left homeless by gang violence.
Goldmeyer got it. All right, let me do another one.
New stats released by the UN show 2,300 people have been killed in Haiti so far this year, more than 100 kidnapped. More on these stories, townhall.com.
The following
I saw the radar.
From Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two
There you go.
different
Thanks again.
options: debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down,
Call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
Pizza Hut's parent company selling the chain for $2.7 billion.
Yelp Brand said on Tuesday that private equity firm Long Range Capital will buy Pizza Hut's business outside mainland China for about $1.5 billion. Young China Holdings is purchasing the mainland China operations for about $1.2. Pizza Hut has been struggling in recent years with growing competition from companies like DoorDash and Uber Eats. Pizza Hut was founded by two brothers back in 1958.
That's weird.
They chose the name of their store in Wichita, Kansas, because the sign only had room for 8 letters. Bob Agnew.
NVIDIA betting on artificial intelligence to revive U.S. manufacturing, and the company unveiling a major AI infrastructure upgrade, part of a $2 billion partnership with Coherent that involves a Texas factory producing materials for lasers that enhance chip efficiency.
I grabbed a bite, yeah.
News and analysis, townhall.com.
Goldmeyer made me a nice big fat sandwich on the way here too.
Mother,
So,
Air
pretty
Force
good.
veteran.
gun rights advocate.
This is Stacy on the Right. Here's your host, Steve Washington.
Thank you for being with us. We have our guest, Thomas Aiello, waiting in the wings. We're going to take a quick call from Ben in Texas. Ben in Texas, you have some comments on AI?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I'm not sure I can express myself properly, but a long time ago, 1980, I studied, and I've been a computer scientist, and what y'all said about all the industrial revolution and all that being good, and that we put more people out of jobs because and our way of life will become stronger and better. That's all correct, Stacy. And I like you very much. I like everything you say. But I just wanted to say, I don't think that's all there is to artificial intelligence. And the fact is that computers can be start with ones and zeros. And I could name all the stuff off, but I'm not going to do that. I don't want to get that. But they can be as intelligent as us. And right now you have what you call the large language models, and then that's basis of artificial intelligence, grammars, languages, and the mathematics involved, because mathematics is just another language, Stacy. And so, they will be able to be as intelligent as us. And you have to think about they don't have any offspring, and they also have already shown a strong ability to be self-preserving.
Well, and I'm just going to jump in here because we did have an interview with Dr. Steele last night where he explained how some of those stories about the AI trying to preserve itself were after the AI was prompted to do so by the human beings who were actually programming it. So I think we should be cautious, but I don't think we should be afraid of it. And Ben, I really appreciate your listening to the show and coming on and sharing that.
See that? Ooh, it looks pretty, actually.
It's good to talk to you tonight.
Above the big clouds way ahead.
I want to hear from you on artificial intelligence, 866-957-2874. Right now, we're going to jump in. We have Thomas Aiello right here with us, joining us again.
I love lightning.
Federal Affairs at the National Taxpayers Union. It's NTU.org. NTU.org. Thomas, thanks for coming back on.
Good evening, Stacey. Thanks for having me.
Oh, good evening. I have to tell you,
Sounds good, brother.
Week after week after weeks where you're paying for something, namely healthcare, and the healthcare that I'm paying for is still extremely expensive because I'm under my deductible. So, $27,000 a year plus a $6,000 deductible before they cover anything, and then it's at their whim whether or not they'll cover it. So I'm looking for any way.
You don't let your place get too messy
right?
anyway.
To save money from somewhere else because of the healthcare expense. And one of those ways is by having cheaper gas. Now, I support the president's agenda. I understand why he went to Iran. So I'm not really ticked off when I'm pumping my gas. It's more expensive, but I understand the reason behind it. But there is a possibility that gas could get a little cheaper this summer, and you're joining us to talk about that. So tell us more.
think we're already seeing the impacts of those lower gas prices. Gas about a month ago was $4.50 on average across the country. Today it's just above $4. So there's been a little bit of progress, a little bit more breathing room for people every time they fill up their tank.
I just filled up for 318.
23 straight. Right, that's almost a month straight of gas prices. Obviously, they were near record highs, but they're coming back down to earth. Now, I think that's going to continue.
I didn't see it get near 450. It barely crested $4 around here.
Of the ceasefire, the opening of the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil and gas is shipped through, that's going to be huge. I think we're going to continue to see those prices and the price of oil continue to decline, and that's going to mean even more savings at the pump.
2 hours seems like a lot.
Go back to those lows that we had, the 5-year lows, just in February. Not right away, but I think we can get there going into the fall. So I think Americans need to continue to be patient. They can be frustrated, but I think we're going to see day after day those prices continue to come down.
So I agree with you that the price have come down a little bit. We're obviously hoping for more. And I think we're going to see more. The agreement that has been struck, we don't have the details of that just yet, but President Trump said earlier today that he would actually read the details in the Oval Office, read the whole agreement, because that's the only way he can get the media to cover it. And I thought to myself, well, you got to do what you got to do. And he's definitely he's going to do what he has to do. So what are you expecting to see happen, especially the remainder of the year? We just used our reconciliation bill. Do we have any other means by which we can accomplish some of the fiscal goals for this administration?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. And, when we're talking about gas prices, we need to remember we are producing more oil today than basically any time in American history. We're producing 13.9 million barrels a day. That's 50% more than when President Trump took office 8 years ago, or 12 years ago, I should say. Now, I think when we say that, record amounts of oil, we've never produced so much oil.
10 years.
People are sort of scratching their heads and they're saying, well, if we're producing so much oil, why am I still paying so much at the pump? And I think it's a very rational thing for people to think about. What we need to remember is when there's a major disruption anywhere in the world, that's going to lead to price increases everywhere. That's what happened in 2022 when Russia invaded Ukraine. That's what we're seeing right now. And of course, that's what we saw way back in the day with the oil embargo during the Nixon years. But I think we also need to keep in mind that these increases in prices, they're actually much more muted because
I have work every day, man.
So much oil. So President Trump,
either working in the field or at home. I'm going to do some remote work tomorrow, probably. Then I have a meeting tomorrow night.
Reserves that we've had locked up.
We're getting close. It's getting frustrating with the bar, but
a cheaper blend of gasoline.
I haven't thrown in the towel yet.
Some of these Jones Act restrictions that were just so stupid and silly.
One speed bump after another. We're dealing with them.
And of course,
the owners are still on board.
Succeeded in some cases, and we're going to see the ongoing.
We thought we were taking possession a couple weeks ago, but
and some of the action. So I'm a little bit more bullish that we're going to see these prices fall.
Hopefully, their lawyers will have something for our lawyers this week.
Wow. So
at this point, I'm hoping to have it before the 4th of July.
Really be helpful for Americans who are looking to save a buck here or there. And it's always nice in the summertime when gas prices are a little bit lower, right? The lower prices at the pump in the summer are especially helpful because people are traveling. And they need
for sure.
That extra boost. There's also
I've already invested quite a bit, so
around obviously slow.
I'm going to be investing a bunch more. So
what else are you looking at for impacts?
We shall see.
Is it just the Iran war or the cessation of that that's going to drive the low prices?
I think that's the big thing. And, the one thing we need to keep in mind is the ceasefire going to hold? If that's the case, then I think we're going to see...
Just coming up to the west side of Defiance. So
we have to remember
I'm only about 37 minutes from home.
For the Qataris and the Saudis and the Emiratis to bring these export terminals back online. We have to remember that they're shut down for 3 to 4 months, so they've been mothballed. It's going to take a little bit of time for them to come up and running. So that's going to take about a month.
Then it's going to take about another month for that oil and gas to be sent to places like Europe, Indonesia, and parts of the United States and the Americas. So really, it's going to be about 2 months before we see this really big drop in oil and gas prices. We're going to continue to decline, but I really think after the month or month and a half mark, that's really when Americans are going to feel that really big benefit. So that's a good thing. I think plus as we go into the summer months, there's things that Congress can be doing as well, especially
once we get open and running, dude. I'm gonna bring you to town for a couple days.
I think there's a really strong agenda that Republicans and Democrats can agree on. And
whether I gotta come scoop you up or find a way to get you here, I will. I know you're not a drinker, but
renewable projects.
We got good food.
Highways and railways, all of these things have to be permitted. And our system is really stuck in the 1970s. And you're hearing from so many oil and gas producers that the biggest hurdle to bringing oil and gas online isn't a lack of capital, it's not the workforce, it's these government rules and regulations that really delay their ability to bring that oil and gas to market, which obviously means if you're taking more time to produce the oil and gas, it's going to lead to higher prices for consumers. So if we get government out of the way, we let oil and gas drillers continue to drill, then refine it, come to market in a much faster timeline, Americans are going to see the benefits of that lower oil and gas prices along the way.
Benefits, which we would love to see and love to have even more of. So there is this caveat that they're talking about over at the article, Redmond talking about Washington and Tehran maintaining the peace agreement. You mentioned that it's predicated on if it holds. What do you see the likelihood of that being, since the agreement is being made with the mullahs, who are basically terror sponsors?
Yeah, I wish I could read the tea leaves. I think if past this prologue, we can't always trust them at their word. Even though we've technically been going through a ceasefire for the last month or two, barely any oil has gone through the Strait of Hormuz, and that's because the Iranians have mined the strait. They have threatened with missiles to attack.
I just bought a nice bottle of Booker's Big Easy Edition.
Countries, they won't put their own people, they won't put their infrastructure, and they won't put their assets into harm's way. So if there is, even lightning, that's going to make it less likely for the oil and gas to transit through the strait. So I think what the president needs to see from the Iranians is, are they serious? Are they going to remove their mines that they've placed in the strait? And are they going to commit to not shoot or fire missiles at tankers that are going through? And of course, there's freedom of navigation, right? All countries agree that countries have the right to send their ships through international waterways. The Iranians, they don't control the Strait of Hormuz. It's an international waterway. So they need to abide by the rules that everyone else is following. And I think it would be a real big escalation if they were to fire.
Oh, he's welcome to come too, but I know he's playing catch up money-wise, so I get it.
And if that were to happen, I think we could see.
But he's always got a couch in my house because I slept on a couch in his house. So.
In the United States and Iran, which no one wants to see. Now, one other piece of this is China. China basically pulls the strings in Iran. They provide so much military equipment, economic aid. They're also a major buyer of Iranian oil and oil from the Middle East generally.
We need to get that list of drinks that Heidi was talking about and convert those to mocktails.
I think they're pressuring Iran as well to keep the hostilities to a minimum, allow free trade within the Strait of Hormuz, and allow that oil to get to places.
I had a good conversation with the mayor again last night.
No, it's so complex.
We actually had a weird customer come in that kind of ran him off. But.
No, it's certainly not. And unfortunately, it's not easy. But you have people listening to your show that might be, obviously working class Americans, and, they're doing the best they can, and they are suffering and dealing with the consequences.
Now she's diving into the business books on this.
And other countries, they get these things right. Because it's everyday people that are going to be the ones that suffer.
Going fully into it. So.
And that's just an unfortunate fact of life. Now, of course, we can go back and forth on was this the right decision? Should he have done it? Should he not have done it? Way past that point.
Oh, he comes in a lot. There's only 3 big bars there, so.
Washington can take and to make those decisions a little bit more palatable for Americans to digest.
He's a good guy.
I am so, like, exactly.
His name is Neil.
More palatable.
He's been mayor of Rockford for like 20 years. So.
Never going to be trustworthy, right? So we're making a deal with them under the parameters of, like,
I mean, let me check. I think it's been like at least 20 years.
And so that's
what you're seeing right now from them is clearly this is not a popular decision. If they're looking at the American system, they're saying this isn't popular. It's causing division within the American people. It's leading to higher prices. It's leading to higher gasoline prices and disruptions across the broader economy. They might be saying the global economy and
14 years, okay,
more to lose from this conflict if this goes on. So we need to trust but verify that what the Iranian government is agreeing to, they're going to abide by. We can't just assume they're rational actors and they want what's best for the United States and what's best for the world. They're self-interested. They want to make sure.
CBD tells you. I think that's a good idea.
That their military assets survive, and they might be playing the long game. They might just take them the short time to regroup,
like the infused ones,
to where they wanted to be militarily.
The old Willies.
For an opportune strike.
Something close to the Willies.
A few months or a year or whenever. We just need to be prepared.
We just got to check the liquor laws with that
situation.
Yep. The only thing we can trust but verify, be prepared for whatever. We have no idea what they're going to throw at us, and we'll just have to kind of run with it. How will that work?
The only thing about being in a red state is though
so we'll see what happens. Anything
not just liquor laws, but the
National Taxpayers Union, you guys
laws as far as using infused stuff is
really great
kind of strict.
To have you back on the show.
It's never a dull day in Washington. We're trying to push back against bad ideas, pushed from some on the right, many on the left. So if you want to follow us, please follow us on social media. Take a look at our website, ntu.org. We focus on so many different things, from energy, housing.
We need to start checking that.
Which I know you mentioned was a very big one for you, Stacey. We have some, bipartisan solutions to help address that because, gas prices are important, but it's such a small sliver of the American budget compared to what we spend on healthcare on a personal level. We deal a lot of that at National Taxpayers Union as well.
Mm-hmm. You guys do a really.
I will say the one thing about driving this late is that traffic is limited.
And bring some common sense to it, which is what Americans are really looking for. No one thinks it should be free. Well, I can't say no one. No one who understands how the world works thinks it should be free, with a straight face. But then, how about spending the price of a new Toyota or a nice newer Toyota every single year, and most of the stuff you go to the doctor for doesn't even get covered? Like that. That's where I am. I'm just like, come on, there has to be a better way than this.
I think so, and hopefully there is. And, I think Americans are going to set up and they're going to expect a lot more from their elected officials to deal with the problem. Because it's really a kitchen table issue. People want to be healthy, but they also don't want to pay a fortune to stay healthy.
Yes, perfectly stated. All right, Thomas Aiello, have a great evening. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Stacey.
All right, have a good night. We'll be right back with more. We'll take a quick break here. If you'd like to join, especially you're wanting to talk more about artificial intelligence. So yes, the other technologies that I mentioned, the loom and other technological advancements, people were afraid of them. They ended up not taking jobs. Jobs were created. Yes, the AI is getting to a place where it can think and do lots of things that humans can do, but there's still the creativity. The artificial intelligence isn't creative. So yes, it can think, it can answer based on whatever the LLM can read. But if it can't read it, it can't actually tell you anything about it. So it does have limitations. So I want to keep it in perspective that artificial intelligence is not just like, a god in the cloud. It's not sentient, and it doesn't have creation capability like human beings do. So, whether we want to or not, we're moving forward. That's the other part. Whether we want to or not, the train has already left the station. Things are moving forward with artificial intelligence. It's up to us to control it, to be a part of what's happening. Not to run away, but to run towards it. So, all right, we'll be right back with more Stacey on the Right. Join me at 866-958-TRAIN.
We, the people of the United States, in American history. June 16th, 1858, Abraham Lincoln delivers his famous House Divided speech during his campaign for the U.S. Senate. And on June 19th, 1865, Union troops arrive in Texas to announce the end of slavery, a day now celebrated as Juneteenth. Counting down to America 250. Only on Sirius XM Patriot 125. What's the financial producer on offer? Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation. Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-848-1331. That's 800-848-1331. 800-848-1331. Tires matter. They're the only part of your vehicle that touches the road, and they're responsible for so much. Acceleration, braking, steering, and handling. Tread confidently with new tires from Tire Rack. Whether you're looking for expert recommendations or know exactly what you want, Tire Rack makes it easy. You'll get fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, and convenient installation options. Try mobile installation. They'll bring your new tires to your home or office and install them on site. The Tire Rack has the best selection of tires from world-class brands. And they don't just sell tires, they test them on the road and on their test track. Learn how the tires you want tackle evasive maneuvers, drive and stop in the rain. It's going to be wet when I get there, but yeah, it should be done. TireRack.com to see their consumer reviews, and be sure to check out all the current special offers. That's TireRack.com. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. The world's biggest sporting event is on Sirius XM. These are the moments you got to define your legacy. For the United States. One star for the United States. To the defending champion, Lionel Messi, and Argentina have won the World Cup. Hear every match of the FIFA World Cup on Fox Sports 83 with post-game reaction on Sirius XM to see what 57 in the car and on the Sirius XM app. It's the world's greatest game because it's magic. 866-957-2874. Stacey on the Right with Stacey Washington on Sirius XM Patriot 125. I was a critic of Donald Trump back in 2015, 2016. Now, obviously, I'm sitting here as the Vice President of the United States in the Trump administration. Well, Joy, a little humility.
So, President J.D. Vance went into the gobbler pen. He went in there and he
I'm still feeling the effects of it. Physically, anyway.
Just attacked again and again and again. Now, he knew what he was signing up for. It's not like he was surprised at all. In fact, he was almost reclined about it. It was just almost an air of boredom to the nonsensical interruptions that he was subjected to. You have Vice President J.D. Vance then jousting with Whoopi Goldberg and Sunny Hostin 2-on-1 about the Trump administration erasing Black history.
What do Black people do to this administration that has allowed it to really stigmatize folks of color? And you know how hard it is. You have folks of color in your family. Sure. So when you see, things, the Emmett Till stuff coming down, or them doing all kinds of removal of information of Black heroes, how do you? Who's
removing what?
How does that sit with you?
Well, what exactly are you talking about, Whoopi? Because you
I'm talking about this. I can tell you all this. Yeah.
No, I want to know what
you
she's.
don't know what I'm talking about.
Actual
So in a lot of the museums, and there's so many. Where they're taking down the actual history that happened in this country. Slavery happened. All kinds of stuff happened, and it seems that it has been very easy for this administration to remove that, and also to
what example?
Black folks who have worked their behinds off to get this American dream. How do you? I mean, you know that.
What a dumb audience.
So, Sonny, that was actually a very helpful intervention, because I think the story you're talking about is where, allegedly the administration is holding back the appointments of people based on skin color.
I'm talking about lots of things. I'm talking about Black history getting erased from public spaces. Black voter districts are being dismantled. Black leaders are being sidelined from our ranks. Where do Americans of color fit in this vision? Because it doesn't seem like we fit.
So again, they're moving the goalposts. What they have this. First, they asked about Black history being erased from museums and from websites. There are some things that were placed, so basically DEI type things. It's a part of the diversity, equity, and inclusion paradigm. And because of that, you had certain people who were highlighted on websites, and all of the diversity, equity, and inclusion work was dismantled and removed. And it wasn't just removed from like hallways or televisions, it was removed from the websites. And so that means DEI postings mainly focus on posting minorities. So those minority postings, additional postings that had nothing to do with the mission or the thing that the agency covers or works on, or it just, all of it was taken down. And the left then screamed, he's erasing Black people. No, he didn't. He didn't erase any accomplishments of any Black people. None of the things that Blacks have done in America have been erased, but the DEI postings were removed. So, of course, Vice President Vance, he's the Vice President of the United States. He's not in charge of websites. He doesn't do web design or postings. He doesn't remove things or put them up. And he doesn't sign legislation into law. So they spring this question on him. If they really were interested in the answer, they would have submitted that to him beforehand and said, hey, heads up, we're going to ask you about this, and this may not be in your wheelhouse as VP, but we want an answer on it. We're going to ask it in front of the audience today, so you might want to look it up and have an answer ready. But they didn't do that because the gotcha is the main event. Like if you're having a buffet and somebody makes a mean lasagna,
you're not even doing the speed limit, dude. Get the fuck out of the way.
Coming up to that pan, and there's basically just little crusty edges around the side. You didn't get any because you didn't get there fast enough. So the gotcha is the lasagna of this buffet. They've got to get you there and have you literally salivating over this gotcha question about race. But then when he said, well, what are you talking about? She said, she's been exasperated. Well, he doesn't know what she's talking about. He doesn't know what she means when she says Black people are being erased. He knows the DEI framework was removed, but the way she asked the question was intentionally to obfuscate, to make it seem as if he was trying not to answer, to make it seem as if maybe he's incompetent and doesn't know what he's talking about. You take your pick of what negative connotation can be derived from the way that she posed that, and then go on to step two. Step one is the gotcha. Step two is the follow-on that is not the same question that he just said, what do you mean? Instead of clarifying about the original question about the removal of DEI content from websites, she then pivots to, well, the erasure of Black Americans, Black districts, the removal of Black people from positions. And in that instance, she's referring to some individuals who were serving in the Pentagon and other positions of authority in the military. And after you have Secretary Hegseth coming into the Department of Defense, which that's what it was called at the time when he first took it over, he then goes through and he starts, they're talking about the vision, the dream, the mission, the things that he's going to do as the head of that entire department. And people who didn't align with that would then be encouraged to take retirement, right? They've been there long enough. My gosh, they've made their bones, they've made their money, they've had time to be in power. Now you have an incoming administration, and it doesn't all happen the first week. It happens over time as Pete Hegseth begins to go around, and you have some people who just straight up oppose what is being done. They make it clear that they're not on board and that they're never going to be a part of it. And those people are moved out. So she's talking about that. So she pivots to this new accusation, the erasure of congressional districts. Congressional districts that were gerrymandered to give more representation in Congress than Black Americans have as representative of population, meaning 13.8% of Americans shouldn't have majority Black congressional districts in every state, 2 or 3 in every state. That's way more than 13.8% of the population. So when those gerrymandered districts are dismantled through actions that are taken by the administration and, of course, a ruling by the Supreme Court, she says he's erasing Black people. What have Black people ever done to this administration? Nothing. No people group have done anything to this administration except the Democrats and their unlawful extrajudicial prosecution and persecution of President Trump while he was out of office to prevent him from becoming president again. But as far as Black people, nothing. But again, the point here is not because anything's been done, that the administration is guilty of anything. It's that they can take this what did Nancy Pelosi call it? She called it the something smear. She had a press conference where she explained to the media how you take someone, you basically say something that's not true, and you smear them with it, and then you repeat that again and again and again. And we saw that with Russia. We saw it with January 6th. We saw it with the tapes, the locker room tape. We're now seeing it with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was a Democrat. He hated Trump, and he was best friends with all of the Democrats, including Bill Clinton. But instead of talking about how Bill Clinton in a blue dress in a painting at Jeffrey Epstein's house, instead of talking about that, at the actual Lolita Island, this is the painting of Bill Clinton, or how many times Hillary Clinton went to the island, how many times the celebrities that these women know and love and consider to be their best friends actually flew out to the island. Instead of talking about that, Beyonce flew out to the island. I mean, come on. We're talking about the most mainstream artists in Hollywood and across this country in arts, music, and entertainment going out to the Epstein Island, only to have their names never be mentioned, but all of the focus is on Donald Trump. It's the smear, and it's being done to him again and again and again. And they engaged in it in this interview on The View with Vice President Vance. So,
all over the place, too.
Vice President Vance, to his credit, he never stopped trying with these people, even though they wouldn't let him finish a sentence, even though they have no interest in the truth, even though they were shifting the actual question they were asking him without allowing him to give an answer. When he asked for clarification, they didn't give it to him. They shifted the question some more so that they could continue to smear him and the Trump administration as somehow being racist, misogynist, bigoted. Kind of like that big UFC counter-programming, unfun thing that they hosted, the Democrats, where you had all of the Democrats singing hymns and lying about Trump, and it was Robert De Niro and even Julia Roberts, Pretty Woman, up there talking about breathe deeply, breathe in through your nose and your mouth. And I mean, I'll admit, I said that that's a great way to calm yourself down, but not Pretty Woman, not Julia Roberts. Come on. So here's Vice President Vance talking about Black cities in America and what's actually going on there.
Since October of last year, there's been something like 6,668 refugees allowed into the country. All but 3 were white South Africans.
So first of all, I'm very skeptical of that number because we have a lot of different immigration pathways in the United States of America. But let me just address Opie's point. Look, first of all, you asked the question, and maybe you don't believe this coming from me, but I think everybody is welcome in our political coalition. Frankly, even if you didn't vote for us, everybody is welcome in our country so long as you're an American citizen with the duties and the legal obligations and rights to be here. But let me just give you an example. Yeah. Okay, so you say that we're anti-minority or anti-black.
No, I didn't say that. I asked. See?
Okay, fine. Fair.
Don't start me stuff with me,
Okay.
man.
I misinterpreted your question. Let me answer your actual question there. What I'm saying, I think, okay, look at Washington, D.C. One of the most democratic and one of the blackest, by share of population, blackest cities in the United States of America, has seen a radical decrease in violent crimes and sexual assaults and in murders. We have tried to take the crime issue seriously, in part because we believe everybody, whether you're black or white or rich or poor, deserves to live in a safe neighborhood.
Why does the crime? Where does the crime step in? This is not about crime. This is about their jobs. Right. This is about human rights.
What you're saying is we got to do more on the economy.
And Black history is been erased from public spaces.
Black history is not erased.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm telling you, we celebrate Black history. We celebrate all American history in this administration.
And I can attest to that because this year, again, what happens when the Democrat president is in office? Well, I'm not black. I don't get invited to the Black History Month reception unless a Republican is in office, but not when Democrats are in office. So they host Black History Month receptions, but they don't invite black Republicans. But this President Trump, all during his first term, he invited black Republicans and black Democrats to come to the White House to celebrate Black History Month. He also gave speeches. He also did unbelievable programming and programs in the actual government. The Opportunity Zones are one of the best. It's an unbelievable program that the government is running still to this day. It was so good Biden didn't dismantle it because so many people are taking advantage of it. Black, white, other, taking advantage of the Opportunity Zones, which is where you can invest with the help of the government in areas that are socioeconomically depressed, and you can make money while improving those areas. And it's in all kinds of businesses, real estate development, all of that. It's something that was launched during the first Trump administration. I was there on the launch day. President Trump talked about how this was going to make an amazing difference in the lives of Americans across the country because any person, any American citizen can get a loan from the Small Business Administration. And
Texas has always been open.
Investment vehicle in an opportunity zone and make money. And even some of those loans are forgivable.
Exit closed.
I can report that the exit is closed. Would you like to add any additional details?
No.
I'm not sure I understand. Are you trying to report something?
No additional details. Exit closed.
I've reported the exit is closed. Thanks.
Can be forgiven by the Small Business Administration if you meet.
So I just added
but in
10 minutes to my drive.
Money with the help of the investment arm of the federal government. That's your taxpayer dollars at work. And the investments are centrally located. They're targeted in socioeconomically depressed areas. So that's rural areas and inner city areas where the median household income falls below the poverty level. Then you can invest in those areas. But I don't hear Sonny Austin talking about that. I don't hear Whoopi Goldberg mentioning that. She says, "Oh no, wait a minute, I didn't say that. Don't come for me." Again, the wrap-up smear just came to me. That's what Nancy Pelosi called it. She called it the wrap-up smear, where you tar and feather someone with something that's not true, and then you feed it to the media and you say it again and again and again until everyone believes it's true. Just like everyone believes that President Trump was Putin's puppet. They believe that he was best friends with Epstein. They believe that he did all those crimes in the 5 states that charged him with criminal activities, and in New York where he was convicted of 34 process crimes for one violation that wouldn't have even have been an election violation. It wouldn't even have been a fine, and they bootstrapped it and passed the statute of limitations and convicted him on it and tried to take all of his property within the environment of New York State. Oh, yeah. The wrap-up smear, Nancy Pelosi's favorite vehicle of destroying an opponent, and they're putting it on Vice President J.D. Vance right here on this program today. And he sat through it. But that's not really the point, is it? The point is that these women wanted him on the show so that they could make these points and that Sonny could yell.
I'm hoping it's going to be an audible pretty soon.
Well, that's I was at home tonight eating dinner, and then I did some work and I did some laundry. But were there puppies there? No, we don't own any puppies. Did you kick them? Well, there were no puppies here to kick. Prove it. Prove what? Prove you did kick them. Well, I don't know if I can't really prove it. I mean, I don't have any dogs. Is that good enough? No, because I heard you did kick the puppies, and then Sonny Hostin yells, "That's true." You just can't win. You can't win.
I'm liking how the app recovers on its own now. I don't have to reset it.
This is a smear as well. So apparently,
so good.
Gavin Newsom and his wife are being investigated by the Department of Justice. Here's the cake taker. This was launched during the Biden administration. So you tell me, because the Democrats are up to some shady nonsense. I guess they were like, you know what, Gavin? You better not even think about running, because if you try to run against Joe Biden and primary him, we're going to bring up this DOJ investigation. Now, why would the Democrats need to do that? Because Gavin Newsom doesn't listen, and because they didn't want him. I don't want him. They didn't want him. So here he is announcing during the Trump administration as if the investigation.
He's turned the levers of government into his own personal power ministry to reward cronies and to try to jail his opponents. His personal attorney now runs the Department of Justice, which has repeatedly gone after his political enemies. Ask Jerome Powell. Sent them after James Comey, Trish, James, Adam Schiff. He sent them after Tim Walz, and a woman that a jury found Donald Trump had sexually abused.
And Gavin Newsom is the worst governor in America. I just want to set the record straight. Even Democrats.
Car on the shoulder.
I've reported a car on the shoulder. Thanks.
AOC, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Ayanna Pressley, and others. Even Democrats who elected those people should be absolutely mortified at the prospect of electing Gavin Newsom to the presidency. Even Democrats should refuse to elect him. He is that bad. Okay? Just want to make sure that we're on the same page here. This isn't about whether or not Democrats should choose their leftist candidates. It's about how they should have pretty much any Democrat in America besides him as their standard bearer for the next election cycle. But that's why they charge him in the DOJ while Biden was in office, to keep him off the ticket. So we'll take a quick break here. We have more for you on the other side. 866-957-2874.
We've got to do a better job of getting across that America is free. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of enterprise, and freedom is special and rare. It's fragile. It needs production. Freedom never gets old. Celebrating America 250, Sirius XM Patriot.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. Brian was a planner. He really wanted us to be taken care of if something happened to him. Brian and I came to the decision to get life insurance when I was pregnant with our first son. When I realized the policy
it's a little bit
I felt relief. Life insurance helped me focus on
You
feeling.
can definitely tell the
I
rain
really
came through
focus
here.
on my kids and myself and trying to pick up a lot of the pieces of a world that was very broken at the time. He really provided for our family in life and also after his death. So I think that would make him proud. Ethos makes it fast and easy to get life insurance. Get a quote.
Definitely tell the rains came through. Little foggy patches here too.
That's ethos.com/apply. Ethos.com/apply. Make this morning a touchdown application by your online health questions required.
It's down to 59 degrees here.
Get the high quality truck you want from Moral.
Good sleeping tonight.
Is now offering up to 20% reduction on the weekly payments of select.
Tell you what, if you ever want the temperature to go down, buy an air conditioner. We just bought one for the bedroom, and since that day, it's gotten cooler and cooler.
You'll hear radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, $50,000 or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids, no matter where you are. Call now, 800-575-4181. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and 8+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-4181. That's 800-575-4181. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Celebrating America 250. Sirius XM Patriot 125. Is that new show? You can catch up on the Sirius XM app. This is Stacey Albright on Sirius XM Patriot 125. Donald Trump is simply the most corrupt president in American history.
One of the things I underappreciated about Donald Trump is that so many of the things that people said about him weren't actually true.
All right, over the break, I was just giggling because the Baby News Network, or one of the ones that's still doing the baby videos, has a video of Elon Musk, and it's baby Elon and baby Donald Trump, the president, and they're congratulating each other. Baby Trump congratulates baby Elon on being the first trillionaire, and then he tells him what $1 trillion is, and baby Trump says, I already know about that. And then he says, my rockets go up, and he says, my numbers always go up until rockets explode. And it just goes on and on. They're basically roasting each other. And baby Elon makes these little faces where he, kind of pulls his chin in, and his little double chin, his baby double chin show. And it's the funniest thing ever. They even had one where Melania Trump was asking baby Trump what was wrong with him. And then he, I guess he had a nightmare. And in the nightmare, he was in a UFC fight and he was losing. And so it was just like, you're sitting there and you're like looking at these, and they look so much like President Trump and Elon Musk. They literally, it's so uncanny the way the AI can make them their babies, but they look exactly like the adult counterparts. And so they're so fun to watch. And so I was watching that over the break and kind of giggling. Also, sending out some tweets on my Twitter account. So if you are not following me, it's Stacey on the Right. Get over there and follow me and retweet, especially the show posts when our guests are being highlighted who are on the program. They stay up with us, they bring us news and information, and especially their analysis and details. So follow, please. Okay, a couple of more quick sound here. So the G7 is coming up, and President Trump is going to be there. And so this is Congressman Brian Mast, Republican from Florida. He joined Fox News with John Roberts yesterday to talk about the G7 nations and how they need to stop dodging the fight.
The G7 wants to remain relevant. They want to have a seat at the table, even though they didn't have a seat in helping to destroy the very aggressive Iran that had been attacking everybody. I think the president's probably going to tell them, be a little bit more American and less European. If somebody's fighting you and attacking you, have the stones to go out there and hit back instead of run away like what you were doing. And you see this a little bit. You see Italy, I believe, has since signaled that they might send a ship or two in there to help deal with some of the minesweeping, but I haven't seen much more since then. Congratulations from Starmer. I think that would be the extent of it.
Okay. President Trump also mentioned the G7. He said that they're going to be in Geneva. It's actually going to be Vice President Vance expected to travel to Geneva for the signing of the deal, and that President Trump may also go. He might.
Are you going to try to attend the signing ceremony on Friday? Well, it depends. The JD's coming in for it. He was originally going to do it. I'll probably be done by then. We're having dinner in a day and a half, right? We're going to be staying quite late. So I may be involved. I may not. Virginia was coming in for that specifically.
Yeah. So then you have President Trump putting the Iranian regime, the Iranians, on blast because he said, "Look, you got a little bit of time. You're not going to get a nuclear weapon. Deal with these new realities."
Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and it says it loud and clear. They're not going to develop it. They're not going to buy it. They're not going to do anything with it. And if they do, they suffer unbelievable consequences. Not just a little bit like, I won't even tell you the consequences, but the consequences are the ultimate consequences. And with that being said, I hope we have a very good relationship. But the biggest thing is they will not have a nuclear weapon. And that's the reason I got in, and that's the reason I agreed to sign. That we originally had, Marco was with me, and they originally wrote that we will not develop a nuclear weapon. I said, no, you're not going to develop it, you're not going to buy either. So we have, that took another couple of days of time. Everything was, it's ridiculous, but so we they will not develop, purchase, buy, or any other thing. They're not going to require a nuclear weapon. If they do, all hell will rain down on them. And they're not going to do that.
Oh, wow. Look at all the water.
They are the mullahs. I can't say that I believe they're willing to cooperate with President Trump. They always seem to have something else up their sleeve. I want them to listen to what
you
President
see the
Trump
doggos
said
in the back there on the fence. Yeah, yay home. So they're going to be all wet-footed. I'm going to fire it up just for a scanning stream tonight. So look for that. Maybe pop in and just give it a like. Let me turn the camera on. Yeah. So yeah. I need 5 hours of premium, and I haven't done that yet. That's why I made sure you had your subscription. Oh, shit, it got dark. So yeah. Look for that. My dirty Dr. Pepper's all gone. Here, Balder. Balder's yelling at me. All right, brother. Love you. See, I'll fire it up in a bit. I'll let it run tonight. Peace. Love you. Later.